Welcome to Campaholics.
I'm Christy.
I'm Mandy.
And I'd rather be camping.
All right, welcome back, campers.
To a spooky edition.
So it's Halloween,
Yes.
2024,
The best holiday ever.
and it's going to be all about spooky stories.
I'm so excited.
I
There's a
mean,
lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, the title says it all. When the sun goes down.
When the sun goes down.
Who is not creeped out camping when the sun goes
Well,
away?
especially, I mean, so Reese and I had this conversation because I prefer the forest because I I feel like the trees make it feel more secure. There's places to hide. You can climb things, right? Reese is the opposite. He's like, I don't like it because I can't see if something's hiding behind the trees. But I'm like, okay, but out in the desert, what are you going to do? Like, you can't hide from someone
That's
out there.
true. But at least you know what's coming.
So it's which one do you want, I guess?
I know. Like, I love the forest, but then when it's like dark, all of a sudden moving like 3 feet in front of you becomes the freakiest thing ever.
I know. And you hear everything, like every little twig snap. You're like, what's that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you're setting up camp and you're like, oh, collecting firewood, half a mile away, whatever. But then
Fine.
all of a sudden it's pitch black. You're like, I'm not moving.
Not fine. Yeah.
Oh, and like when we talk about things hiding, oh my goodness. Like, have you ever been sitting outside at night around the campfire or whatever, and in the distance you see something like a little light?
Yeah, and it looks
Oh man, one time we were camping and that's exactly what was happening. Is we were around the campfire and I looked, there was like a ravine behind us. And I saw this like reflection or something in the distance, and it was night, pitch black out there. And it was this tiny, tiny little white reflection light or whatever. But I could have sworn it was moving.
Oh.
And I had everybody looking. We're like, oh, I see it too. Oh my goodness.
Shine your flashlights over.
But then come to find out after we like investigated a little more, I think it was just like some aluminum, like a can or something reflecting off of maybe the moon. But it was so creepy because for like a half hour, I'm like, what is out there?
Isn't it crazy? Like, it's so funny you say that too, because it is. It's like 9 times out of 10, it's just our imaginations that like can get away from us.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's real. Like, I remember I wasn't necessarily camping, but there was a time in my life where I grew up in a RV trailer. Like, we lived in a park, right?
Okay.
And there was a lot of wildlife around there because we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, really. But at any rate,
wait, this was up in
Washington State. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So I was a little kid, right? And this raccoon comes out and I'm like, oh, look at this little guy. Like, he's hungry. And so I feed him. And then my dad's like, do not feed the raccoons because they'll come back, right? Oh, he came back with about like 30 of his friends. It was scary. I thought they were gonna jump us. Like, you like break in the window with like raccoon karate or something.
Oh my goodness. You fed the wrong raccoon.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a lesson. Like they are not alone. They come in like packs, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
they actually killed a bunch of my cats.
What?
Yeah, they would get in fights with my cats, and my cat would lose every time. And it turned out, I thought it was one cat, but later on, my mom and my dad told me like, oh no, that was like multiple cats. They kept dying, and we kept replacing them.
My
And I was
goodness.
like, oh my God.
It's like that story you see in movies and on TVs, and then little Timmy died, so we got to bring him back in a new form, and the kid's never gonna know or find out. So you really were that kid. We're like,
and
you
I was
know.
wondering because I was like, this cat never seems to get attached to anybody. I'm like, now it's all clear.
So you just have this like unrealistic view that cats never die.
Yes. Well, now I'm stuck with a cat that's never gonna die.
Well, yeah, that's so funny. Oh, so yeah, we're going to talk about some creepy, scary stories that I know like I've encountered, maybe some you've encountered, Christy, and then of course we want to hear your guys' creepy stories too. We would love to do a follow-up on our creepy stories. So yeah. So way back when Brian and I were tent campers,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids were quite little. I want to say maybe like 4 and 6 or something, maybe a little older. So we had camped for a long weekend. We normally camp with our cousins. For whatever reason, it was like the day we were supposed to leave, and I think we had been up there a while. And Brian and I are like, let's just leave tonight. We're already like half loaded up. Let's just go home so we can have an extra day home. Whatever, no big deal. So we don't typically leave in the evening, but this time we did. And so by the time we were driving away from the campsite down the dirt road, it was pretty dark. And one of the things I remember is I was like, oh, shoot, Brian, you left your cooler on the back or tailgate or something of the truck. I'm like, we need to stop and get it before it falls. Mm-hmm. So he stops in the middle of the dirt road. And I mean, like this, where we camped was up on the rim, and we still do sometimes, and it's like nobody's around unless you're in one of those loops or whatever. But this long dirt road, there's like nobody, just forest darkness. So we stop, he gets out, gets the lunchbox, puts it back in. We get back on the road, and all of a sudden, this guy runs out in front of us. So Brian slams on the brakes, and we were like, whoa, what's going on? And he was like waving us down. And Brian, being very cautious, just kind of rolled the window down, like, are you okay? All of a sudden, like, some other guy comes out.
Oh my God.
To come find out, they were clearly drunk. But I'm like, they were drunk and lost because there are no tents or cars around.
Oh my God.
But with the kids being little, and these guys were kind of freaky, we're like, let's just go.
Like, good luck.
But it was the spookiest thing ever, because all of a sudden in our headlights, boom, this guy like stumbling over his stuff.
That would scare the shit out of me.
So we were just like, let's leave now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It was creepy. I'll never forget that.
For real.
Man. Yeah, so creepy stuff happens in the forest.
Yeah, I remember one time we were camping by Lake Alamo here in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever been there.
I have not.
It's like 3 hours west of here.
Oh.
It's
okay. So it's not in Texas.
No.
The Alamo.
It feels like it because it's like forever, and you're kind of out, and it is. You're just driving out into the desert, and you feel like there's nothing, and then all of a sudden you're upon a lake.
Okay.
And we used to go camping there once or twice a year with like a big group of people. And I remember one of the second to the last times we were there, everyone was asleep. It was probably like really late morning or late night, early morning, like the sun wasn't up yet.
Okay.
And I just hear like stuff getting knocked over in camp, like tables and chairs. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what is happening? And I was like, maybe it's someone that's drunk, right? Like stumbling around.
Yeah.
But I was like, I didn't care to investigate, right? So I just keep laying there, and I just like keep hearing all this noise happening. I was like, okay, someone else has to hear this. Like, how am I the only one in camp awake right now?
Yeah.
And I continue to ignore it because I'm like, if it's like I'm not going out that much. I'm gonna get eaten by a
old
bear.
were you?
Oh my God, I was like in my 20s.
Okay. Like, I am being the first one out there.
Oh, and then all of a sudden you just start hearing like, I was like, what the fuck is this?
It donkeys?
It was a ton of donkeys.
Holy
There was like a whole group of them, and like
wild donkeys.
Yes, and apparently they give zero fucks about your camp gear because they just trampled through everything. And
holy cow!
They broke like camp chairs, and there's like hoof prints on everything. Like they did not fucking care.
I mean, I've heard donkeys can be really aggressive.
That's why I was like, I'm really glad I didn't go out there because they could have
totally kicked you down.
Yeah, I kicked the shit out of me.
So beware of donkeys.
Beware of donkeys.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah,
that's funny. I've never seen like a donkey in the wild.
Me either. But apparently, there's like a ton of them out there by Lake Alamo.
Okay, news to me. That's funny.
Most of my scary stories really involve animals, right? So I had the raccoons, I have the donkeys, and I have one more.
Okay.
When I was a little kid, I was probably like 6 or 7, living in that trailer park again. Mm-hmm. Well, like there's like a little hill down from like the one, like it was like a multi-layer park, if you will, like on the side of a mountain.
Hill.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. So as you kind of go down the hill, there's like the little, I don't even know what to call it. It's not like a home office. Well, there's like an office and like a little cafeteria.
The main area.
Yeah. And so then there's just like this big grassy area and like a little pond, and they have like ducks and geese and like all these things. And so, and they have peacocks. They have like tons of stuff. And like everyone was like, oh, the birds are fine. Like they hang out here all the time.
Okay, wait, hold on. This is why you hate birds so much.
This is actually,
this is all coming together. Every time we're at work and we're walking and a bird chirps, because you're like, die. What's this bird doing here? I'm like, whoa, what's this hatred against birds?
I actually have 2 stories as to why I hate birds. This was the first one, though. And then I decided I would give birds a second chance, and they let me down again. Okay. So this one, if you remember geese and being like 6 or 7, they're like the same height as you at this point, right? Like they're big birds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have my little bread bag because my mom's like, here, go feed like the end loaves. Yeah, to the birds. And they swarm me.
Oh no.
So I'm like,
Christy gets attacked.
Yeah, I was like, here's one for you, one for you. And then they start swarming me and like pecking at me. And they have like, I don't know if you've ever been bitten by a goose or a duck, but they don't have teeth necessarily, but kind of like a catfish. It has like almost like a sandpaper texture. So it hurts still.
Yeah.
And there's probably 30 of these things like just surrounding me, like chomp, 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 chomp.
Oh my God.
So finally I like swing the bread and like throw it. They gave no fucks.
And they just kept going after you.
And I just start screaming and my mom's not around.
You were the source. They were trying to get you. Wow.
I was so scared. I really thought that was the last day of my life.
Okay, that is scary. Especially being a child. You're like, I can see where this fear, or this hatred.
They just had like these black little beady eyes and they're just like staring at you, man. Like,
okay. No geese around Christy.
No, I don't. No birds.
No birds. No birds. Man, it's like the movie The Birds.
Yes.
Like literally. But I'm glad they didn't peck your eyes out. So
yeah, me too.
Oh man.
Me too.
That's crazy. Okay, so there was this time we were camping. Actually, I want to say it was only a couple years ago. And we had a few people in our group camping. And that night, went to bed, whatever. I wake up in the middle of the night to hearing this on our trailer door, this knock.
No.
I thought first when I heard it, this is my imagination, or it was a dream, like whatever. I'm like, you have that initial, oh, okay, never mind. It was probably just whatever.
Like Brian farted or something.
Right. Yeah. Or the dogs, like just moving positions. Then I'm like almost back asleep and I hear it again.
Oh,
so then God. I'm like nudging Brian, like there is something knocking at our trailer door. And so he gets up and we're like looking with the flashlight, trying to look out the window, whatnot. Nothing. What? We go back to bed. I hear it a third time.
Oh my God, Mandy.
And at that point, I'm just like, I just want to go to sleep and wake up and this be all over.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I do fall asleep. I was like, I didn't hear it again because I must have fallen asleep, whatever. The next morning, everybody's waking up and I'm like starting to talk to the other campers. I'm like, guys, somebody or something was knocking on our trailer door last night. My cousins were sleeping in a tent, or my cousin's son and his girlfriend. And he's like, no way. I could have sworn I heard a baby crying last night. I was like, what? A baby? And then my sister was like, I heard something too. And we were just like,
oh my God.
At first I'm like, okay, did somebody get lost or were they drunk and trying to find their trailer? But then I'm like, what's this baby?
Yeah.
How does someone lose one? Like, what the?
Oh my God.
It was just the creepiest thing.
So weird.
I was like, this something ain't right. I'm like, a baby crying?
It's like the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, because you always hear like bears, if you keep your babies quiet because they will come to the sound of babies. And I think that's where that saying, that thing
bears will eat your babies.
They'll eat your babies because they hear a crying sound and it probably sounds like something dying. And they want to come and check it out, I guess, and get a meal. I don't know.
Oh my God.
But that's creepy. It's bears, they'll eat your babies, but I don't know. It was creepy.
Well, it's funny you say that too because we all know how much I'm into Bigfoot, and so I was on that Befro website, the Bigfoot
Yeah.
Field Research Organization. And
Yeah.
they have a bunch of like recordings that people have caught of just like weird noises out there, like weird howling or like hooping. Like,
Ooh.
it's creepy. And I swear to God, there was at least once or twice where I've been out camping and I heard something weird. And in my mind, I'm like, it's just a wolf. It's just right. Like I'm trying to say it's like just something normal.
The wind or something
Yeah, but
like
it's
that.
definitely a noise that you've never heard before. Like you don't know how
Yeah.
to describe it.
Yeah, and then when all the elements around you too are just like it's dark, it's
Yes.
creepy, it's your imagination takes hold.
It sure does. It sure does.
So, I mean, there's really two differences I feel like being creeped out camping.
Mhm.
There's something happens and you don't even know why or what's going on, but then there's like people that purposely scare you. I can not confirm nor deny that I've been a part of that group. But I can remember camping and it's fun to invite new people, right? You
Yeah.
know, so our kids are like, whatever, young teens or in their middle school age. And I remember our cousins, they had some families that their kids used to bike with, like through their school biking club or whatever. And they came and, you know, the kids are like at that age where they're like, we want our own campfire. We want to go camp here. So
Sure.
it was close, but it was like still further away from where we were set up.
Mhm.
And my cousin was like, all right, let's let things settle, whatever. And then later that night, some people
Some people.
went around and totally scared
Oh
them.
my
And
God.
they were like making noise in the forest and like shaking their tent and like all kinds of
Oh my
stuff.
God.
And you could hear screaming. I actually had ended up going to bed and I woke up to like people screaming. And I was like, oh, it's happening.
It's happening.
Like I knew it was going to happen, but I was like, oh, it happened.
Oh my God, that's too funny. Did they ever camp again after that? Or did-
Yeah, I mean, it was more so the kids that just got spooked out, and then later they're like, "You guys scared us." We're like, "Yeah, we did," or whatever. But, and the funny thing is, like, my cousin, he has this like werewolf costume.
Of course he does.
It's just like this big head and these bear claw looking things, and
Oh my
it's just
God.
funny.
That's
I
amazing.
mean, I feel like I'm at the point where I'm past the person that is being scared by it, but it's now fun to watch
Right.
the people
Sure.
being scared
Yeah,
by it.
yeah.
But on top of that, the latest thing that he's had is we'll be around the campfire and all of a sudden coming up behind us is this creepy little ding, ding, ding,
Oh, yeah.
ding, ding music box. I'm like, that is hilarious. It's like the perfect setting for the creepy slow music.
It is.
But-
Which is perfect because if you guys don't already know, I love scary movies.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like there's a handful of movies we have to watch for Halloween this year that involve camping. So there's one, which I don't know if you watched this one yet, called Backcountry.
I don't. Ooh,
It's about
is
a
it
bear.
is it about the girl that gets stranded on the side of the road?
No.
Okay. Nope. I guess not.
You got to watch it. It's about a bear attack. There is a girl.
Okay. Okay.
And a bear attack. And then of course there's like Friday the 13th. We have Camp Crystal Lake, Sleepaway Camp. There's actually 3 of those.
Whoa.
They're from like the 60s or
trilogy.
70s. Yeah, so they're kind of cheesy because they're old, but I love them.
That's funny.
And then if you haven't seen it, there's Wrong Turn.
No.
Which is another one. And House of Wax, which is that one probably is like my all-time favorite because there's a part where they're camping
Okay.
and they get murdered while they're camping.
Oh my
And
goodness.
one of the people who die just happens to be Paris Hilton, and it's amazing.
Oh my goodness. What's the name of the one you recommended to me? I'm like, that could even be a Halloween one.
The Descent.
Yes. The
Oh,
Descent.
yeah.
I was like, this thing is freaky.
I know. I do love that one, but I don't know if I would consider that one camping. But
yeah.
it is outdoors.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's definitely worth watching. It's so
Okay.
creepy.
That's so funny. Yeah, I'm going to have to think of some other creepy. Well, I mean, you've got the Blair Witch Project and The Village is always good. I know
Ooh,
that's
The
not a
Village is
camping one,
good.
but so sometimes my cousin has a projector and we'll put it on the back of a trailer and put a movie on. Like one time we did Jurassic Park, but since it's close to Halloween Santa could do a scary movie. We're like, ooh, do we really want to watch a spooky movie while we're camping?
Yeah.
As long as there's other campers around, no problem.
We got our lights, our little solar lights. We can light up the camp.
That's right.
We'll be fine. We'll be safe.
Oh, man.
I love it.
Yeah. So, guys, share with us your creepy stories, whether they were inflicted upon you or you inflicted them upon someone else. We definitely want to hear about it.
Yeah. Or if you have like creepy pictures or recordings, whatever you got, share it. We want to know. Or even good scary movies, because I'm always on the look for a new scary movie.
Yeah. There is one thing we used to do when... Okay, this happened to me when I was little, so of course, naturally, I have to do it to my kids when they're little.
Of course.
So, I mean, feel free to pass this on to your children. Have you ever heard of snipe hunting?
Only in that movie Up. That was the first time I ever heard it referenced.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, when I saw the movie Up, I was like, how do they know about snipe hunting? So when I was younger and we went to family camp, of course, this was church family camp too.
Sure.
And the adults said, go ahead, little children, grab your pillowcases. We are going into the forest and we are snipe hunting. And I was like, oh, what's snipe hunting? And so, of course, my brothers and sisters, well, the younger ones, we grabbed our pillowcases. The older ones must have been in on it. So we go into the forest and they're like, all right, you got to be really, really quiet because snipes only come out at night. And if you're really, really quiet. So we were like tiptoeing through the forest and we've got our flashlights and our pillowcases. And then all of a sudden the adults are like, okay, we have to turn our flashlights off and you have to stand really, really still. We're like, okay.
Oh my God.
And so we do so. And all of a sudden, like, you hear something go by. Or all of a sudden, something's inside of my pillowcase and it's heavy. And I'm like, what's going on? I can even remember one time I just screamed and I think I like dropped my pillowcase and ran. But anyways, come to find out, the adults grab big rocks and they throw them in your pillowcase, or they run by you, or they split you off and you get freaked out that there's these giant snipe birds. And I can remember like taking our kids snipe hunting, and it was just like, it was funny, but then I'm like, I'm scaring my children.
I know, right? I scared Reese one time when we were camping and he started crying, and I was like, if I want him to go camping, I gotta stop.
Know,
Like,
I know. And I'm like, this is church camp. I'm like, what is going on?
That's amazing.
But it was a memory, so
I feel like we should try it again.
I know. I think we need to take some kids snipe hunting.
I think we do. I want to try this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully we want to come up with some other scary stuff. So if we're lucky, we'll have a part 2 for scary stories. So we'll see.
Okay.
Make sure you share with us at I'd rather be camping with a K at gmail.com. Yep. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. Send us an email. Let us know.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
Till
guys.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.